So just start out simple. Why does California need a voter ID law?
Well, our democracy doesn't work if people don't have faith in our election outcomes. As reported by the media, just in my area in Orange County, a dog voted in the last two elections. We need to secure the election process, and this is one step closer to doing that. There's been 3 presidential campaigns since the year 2000 to call in question the election outcome. And so this is just one more safeguard that will make it where people have faith in the election outcome. And that's exactly what makes our democracy work.
So there's 36 states that already have some form of a voter ID law in place. Some of them vary on the strictness, but still. And what advantages do those states have just in general and then over California?
Oh, first of all, they have higher faith in the election outcome. Number 2 is every state where they've actually implemented voter ID, you have a higher participation rate. And so, again, it's a faith in the democracy. And you have to also remember, every fraudulent vote cancels out someone else's right to vote. And so, this is again just one safeguard that will help people have more faith in the election outcome. And here in California, we have one of the worst systems. And by the way, when you look around the world, almost everybody around the world that has elections has to use ID in order to vote. And we use IDs in every part of our lives, from boarding flights to banking, to picking up medicine, to alcohol. When you get pulled over by the police, use a ID in almost every facet of your life. And I don't see why there's any objection to be able to use an ID in order to vote.
And being one of the largest states and the state with the largest population, why do you think California has gone this long without checking voter ID and verifying the citizenship of registered voters?
Well, because I think the legislature is out of touch with everyday citizens across the state of California, and not just on this issue, but on many issues. But when you look at the public support, UC Berkeley's Institute of Government Studies shows 71% of likely voters support this kind of concept. And so I believe, Democrats, independents, and Republicans across the state of California support voter ID laws, almost just like Proposition 36 to make crime illegal again. But the people here in Sacramento are out of touch with everyday citizens. So we actually had to go and get the citizens to go ahead and sign these petitions. And this is one of the fastest citizen-led petition initiatives to qualify for a ballot in California history. We got over 1.3 million signatures. We're going to be on the ballot in November, and very confident because of overwhelming support that we're going to get this passed. The only thing I'm concerned is the legislature always comes up with different ideas to come out with a poison pill, to introduce a competing measure to try to confuse the voters. And that's the only thing I'm concerned. That's the only thing that can get in the way of this passing in November.
Now, we have some articles quoting some opponents saying of this effort, saying voter fraud is extremely rare and there's enough safeguards already in place. And then they argue this is actually a form of voter suppression. What would you say to those people?
Okay, first of all, every place that voter ID is implemented, the most recent in North Carolina, the voter participation is actually up, not down. And so that's a bogus argument, because you look at what's happened when it's actually in practice in those 36 other states. And number 2, a lot of them say, oh, people don't have IDs. Well, you need an ID. I don't see legislators saying that we can't, that they want to ban IDs for getting on a plane or banking or buying alcohol. In fact, there's many bills that go through the legislature that you need IDs for, and that's also on public assistance. You need to use ID for public assistance as well.
And then finally, now that it appears enough petition signatures have been collected, you mentioned 1.3 million roughly, if you could just describe the process of what comes next for getting this measure on the ballot by November for those who don't know exactly how this works.
Well, we turned in the signatures from Democrats, Independents, and Republicans across all 58 counties. And again, we have signatures that go across all 58 counties, and we're turning them in to each one of the counties. And now they're going to look to verify. And we're very confident because we've already looked, and we have backups on everything. We already looked. We already know that we have enough qualified signatures. And so, but we turn them in to each one of the 58 county offices, and they'll come back and say, yes, you have enough signatures. And then, therefore, Secretary of State will put on the ballot for the November 2026 election.
There you go, Senator. Very informative as always. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.